about 4 months of essentially pulling teeth all day from dawn till dark, he wrote home to his mother. And he shared with his mother that in those 4 months, he was able to pay off his student loans. So remember that $3,300 in student loans, Aaron? He
That's
had that paid
amazing.
off in 4 months.
I wish that's true today.
I think any of our listeners that are young dentists would love to have their student loans paid off in 4 months, right?
Yes.
And he also had enough money to buy a used car. It was a 2-year-old used car. And so he wrote to his mother and shared with her, she was in Indiana, and he wrote to his mother and shared with him his success. And he included a photo of the car. And his mother wrote back to him. And this was the letter that would change his life. When his mother wrote back, she said, "Son, I am happy that you are doing so well in your practice, but I hope you are not doing to your patients what has been done for me." So the sidebar to this story is that a couple weeks before she got this letter, Dr. Pankey at age 40, or Mrs. Pankey, Dr. Pankey's mother, at age 42 years old, was having tooth trouble on the upper left. I don't know what was going on, but some kind of a toothache on the upper left probably could have been taken care of with some simple restorative dentistry. But Naren, what did people do when they had tooth trouble in
They took off
1942?
they took off the tooth that was giving
They,
them trouble.
they take them out.
Yeah.
So she had all of her teeth extracted and had a set of dentures made at age 42.
Wow.
And that's going to be hard for any of our listeners to even fathom and understand, Aaron, because we can't even think about these days. 100 years later, we can't think that way. But that's what the public thought. I'm going to lose them anyway. I might as well have them taken out at a time that's relatively convenient for me. So what she told Dr. Pankey, she said, "I have had all of my teeth out and now have dentures." Lindsay, so LD, his name was Lindsay. "Lindsay, this has been the unhappiest experience of my life." At the time, Lindsay's mother was only 42 years old, and she was a beautiful woman. She lived to be 87, Aaron. She lived another 45 years. But as Dr. Pankey said, I don't think she had a happy day the rest of her life in those 45 years. Did not have another happy day. All the things that happen when your teeth come out. And all of the consequences of that: loss of bone, loss of facial collapse, loss of structure, loss of nutrition because she couldn't eat what she wanted to eat anymore.
Right.
Just it set a downward spiral in for what happened to her. So Dr. Pankey said, I don't think she had a happy day for the rest of her life. Those dentures completely changed her life, her looks, her self-assurance, and her self-confidence. She lost the 4 things, this is in Dr. Pankey's words, she lost the 4 things that I have spent the rest of my life trying to learn, use, and teach to other dentists to give their patients: comfort, function, health, and aesthetics. Those are the 4 things Dr. Pankey spent the rest of his life helping to provide his patients: comfort, function, health, and aesthetics. And Dr. Pankey said, I was crushed because I knew she should not have lost her teeth. From that day on, I could not look at a patient without thinking this person was somebody's mother, somebody's wife, somebody's husband, someone's child or relative, and asking myself, are extractions and dentures what this patient really needs? The thought that I might be doing to other people's mothers what another dentist had done to my mother sickened me. This wasn't at all what I had planned when I graduated from dental school. Out of this turmoil, I decided to leave Newcastle because I felt like the type of work I was doing and the narrow expectations people had there of dentistry limited what I could accomplish. And at that point, he made a commitment. I couldn't stop thinking about what I had done to those people in Newcastle. More damage than good, probably. I'd taken out a lot of teeth that should have been saved, doing the things that patients wanted rather than what they needed. And I had been doing this every day since I had moved to Newcastle. I was feeling very disturbed. Nary, can you imagine the emotion that Dr. Pankey was experiencing at that point? You know,
Absolutely, Gary. I
it-
could. I mean, when it happens to your own mother, right? And
it's
someone who
profound.
raised you, someone who made you who you are, and there's no going back. Unfortunately, once it's taken out, it's taken out. You can't put it back in. So, and she had to live with the consequence of that for like 45 years, and he had to see it
Yeah.
because he lived longer than her. So of course, he felt the pain that she felt,
At
and I
that
guess,
point, Dr. Pankey said, I made a commitment to myself. I would never take out another tooth as long as I lived. Now remember, this was 1923, Aaron. That statement today doesn't seem like much of a stretch, to
hmm
make that statement today in 2022. Never take out another tooth as long as I live. That doesn't. But can you imagine that 99 years ago?
yes,
99 years ago, that was unheard of. That
right,
was profound. You
right,
know, that his colleagues did not agree with that.
hmm
Um, I had promised myself that I would devote the rest of my life to learning how to save people's teeth. Some way, somehow, I was going to learn how to communicate to my patients the importance of saving their teeth. At that moment, a peace came over me that I have never experienced before or since. It was as though I was having a religious experience. I did not know how I was going to do it, but I decided to dedicate my life to saving people's teeth.